How old were you at the time?
I was 19. I'm just kidding. Sorry. No, I
You
at the
you
time,
you were born into 19. You just started right
yeah.
there.
I
Yeah.
was immediately 19, as are all the Kentuckians were
Something in
born.
the water. I see. Okay. My name is Lingo, and welcome to Educative Sessions. Educative Sessions is a podcast series with people in the developer world about their coding experiences. And Educative makes it easy for developers to get content from authors about interactive and adaptive courses. So today's guest is Sam Wilson, who is a senior software engineer with HEB Digital. And today we're going to talk about why his calligraphy sucks.
Yeah.
Interesting topic that you provided for us. Sam, welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going? I'm so glad to get this help from you.
It's going well. I'm so glad that we're like reconnecting and just catching up. Although I feel like I've been connected with you for the longest time I've known you. But this is a totally new area, totally new territory for us. So let's start from the very beginning. You told to me that you started up growing up in Kentucky,
Yes.
and not a lot to do, in your opinion, out in rural Kentucky. Take us through your story.
Yeah, so I guess the beginning of the story would be I was born in Kentucky, and shortly after that, I was raised in a community that was, I think it's probably 50 people. It's Bon Air, Kentucky. And so I was raised out in, just picture barns, grass, fields, that type of thing. My mother, my grandma, and I were out in this, like, basically farmhouse. We didn't own the farm, but we were on this plot of land. And so growing up, I tended to entertain myself with drawing. I had a stack of notebook paper, loose leaf, a ream, and I would just draw and then draw and draw. And then some of the things I would draw would be we got like 3 channels, and I would just draw cartoons and just, anything that I could get a hold of. Um, and I never considered myself an artist or anything like that. It was just part of the way that I uh, interacted with the world. I found it fun, so I did
Mm.
it a lot. I had an ink pen, I had some paper. It was it was fun to do something and then immediately be able to take the piece of paper and then start anew, like
Right.
right away.
How old were you at the time?
I was 19. I'm just kidding. Sorry. No, I
You
at the
you
time,
you were born into 19. You just started right
yeah.
there.
I
Yeah.
was immediately 19, as are all the Kentuckians were
Something in
born.
the water. I see. Okay.
It is.
No, I only asked because when I was like 4 or 5, I was a compulsive drawer. And I'd like to think I was pretty good, but it didn't matter whether it was good or bad. There was just like need to constantly create content and not do anything else for some reason. Like it was just I needed to get whatever was in my head out onto paper, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think my earliest memories were of drawing on that ream of notebook paper. So, like you, I think it started as early as I could safely have a pen. Like I just always had, like, I think they probably gave me a pen when I was 5, maybe. But I was always doing stuff. But I remember the ink pen, the Bic, the paper, and the television, and it was kind of a it was just a mode that it was just something that it was my go-to. It was like when I was watching TV, I really admired cartoons. I at the time I wouldn't be able to think in terms of the style of the cartoon or anything, but I thought about the cartoons a lot, and the things that I thought about, I tended to just get out on paper. Um, and there was very crude. Like I had a spaceship that I would draw that was a triangle with a circle around it, and
Yeah.
I would draw it and I would make sounds and I would animatively, make sounds and sort of enhance that experience
Hmm.
because,
Hmm.
it's what you do when you're, as you know, you're left to your own, um, your own little bubble.
Right. Right. And I have to ask, because today's talk is about calligraphy and especially how you were taught to, learn a bit of a craft. Did you find your transition from being very creative into something like calligraphy a little bit challenging?
Yeah, there's two interesting aspects of creativity that, or at least, I'm no um, expert on creativity, but I would like to think that there are rules and then there is freedom, and the interaction of those things. You start to find your style where those two things meet. And when I started doing calligraphy, it was because I was trying to do it. This was much later in life, probably about 8 years ago. I draw, I do all these things, and I tried to do a project. I think it was like a coffee site that I was doing with a friend, and I wanted a cool, like, calligraphic style, and I couldn't find it, so I started drawing it, and it was very hard. Like, it was so hard. Like, I spent hours and hours, and it nothing looked right. And I was surprised because it seemed like I could get the letters there, but there was no soul and there was no flow. And so after that project, I got it to a point where it was okay. But after that project, I started looking into like why am I so bad at this? Like, I have art skills, but through reading and can't think of the names, but I eventually found copperplate. And so going into copperplate and writing copperplate was this whole system of rules, like, the angle of beauty and like the consistency, balance, um, style. It was all there, but it was very, very hard to do. And what I discovered is that my artistic skills, in a way, informed and also impeded me from mastering calligraphy. And I am no master of calligraphy, but it was a process, and I was surprised that you can improve your calligraphy just through practice. And that's what everyone will tell you, is that no matter how good you are drawing a dog or a bottle, calligraphy is its own thing, and that's why it just takes time. It just takes a lot of practice.
Right, right. Just like any other skill, there's a lot
Mhm.
of process to it. And I'd like to link a lot of your work in calligraphy to the work that you do now. And you're in technology, you're a software engineer. That's a lot of how you and I got connected back in the day. And yet, I'm a big believer in like homology and how many different skills and many different crafts have a similar logic to it all. That and everything takes a certain time. Like, I mean, I'm still a writer, but my knowledge of coding has made me a much better writer, and sometimes vice versa. Has calligraphy informed your own professionalism and work that way as well?
Yes, I think it was calligraphy that taught me that you have to master, in order to write well, you have to master the tool. And the tool for calligraphy is, a brush pen or a nib, uh, uh, or a particular type of ink. There are different tools in calligraphy. And one thing that was a game changer for me personally in coding was when I admitted to myself at one time that I actually didn't know my text editor very well. I was very much, I knew the features of the text editor, but my hands would always be coming off the keyboard, mouse, very like want to grab the mouse, want to use the tools that would interrupt my actual coding thinking. And in calligraphy, if you bring your if you're making a track on the page and you constantly have to redip, or you constantly have to do something that isn't um, making the line, that becomes an obstacle. So indirectly or directly, I had an insight that I was going to take some time. And for me, I decided to learn the Vim key bindings. So, in other words, just any sort of um, system where my fingers were on the keyboard, and when I was thinking, there was less of interruption from the things that were in my head coding wise and getting those down. And I found that learning the Vim key bindings and then later on doing test driven development and other things, just certain tools, like getting your tool set correctly, like configured and sort of always expand on like what, not only like your tool set now, but like what is a better version of that. And not getting obsessed with it, because if you're a calligrapher and you're always concerned about the nib that you're using or the brush pen that you're using, you may not have enough time to actually do the calligraphy. So there is a balance there, but I got to say that that's the most direct parallel with calligraphy is the IDE or the text editor that you're using is something that you want to take time to really invest in and practice as a skill itself.
Wow. I never thought about it that before. Because I know like a lot of the times in the communities I've been in when it comes to getting your environment set up properly, getting your tools right, many people just kind of say, well, it's interchangeable, it's going to be changed, or new tools are coming out all the time and all that. And that's the same with like artists as well. But I like when you describe the way that writing operates, it reminds me of how especially engineers are really interested in optimization and like just making sure that they're using as little energy as possible and trying to get as much done as possible. And then even the way that they work, or even the basic debugging refactors, all any way to make an engineer's job easier is what they're going to prioritize, just like anyone else. So I see a lot of connection there. Believe it or not, Sam, we've run out of questions, and so I know it goes by super fast, and I'd like to give you an opportunity to talk about anything you like. Call it a shameless plug, if you will. It could be your company, it could be some side projects you're working on. The floor is yours.
If you're in Texas and you are looking for a company that is really trying to do good in the world and really for the people, HEB Digital, and I say this wholeheartedly, they didn't send me, has been amazing and is a really great company. HEB is a grocery chain here, but it's more than that. It's kind of it is a fabric that holds the Texas community together. You'll find it in many communities as the cultural hub. It's a really great company to work for. And yeah, and other than that, just pick up calligraphy. Just do it. It's fun. Make it simple. Start anywhere. Yeah.
Awesome. Sam Wilson, thank you so much for participating in Educative Sessions. And I want to thank everybody who's been listening or watching to this episode as well. You can check out more of our content on YouTube or on our Podbean account or on all major podcasting applications. And lastly, if you want to check out what Educative does, you can look us up at educative.io. So for all of us here at Educative, thank you so much and happy learning. Bye-bye now.
Thanks, Lee.
Hope you enjoyed that. This episode is available on YouTube and also on many podcast platforms. If you'd like to be part of Educative Sessions, the form is open now to apply. You can also email me at lee@educative.io. Lastly, don't forget to like and comment this video and be sure to subscribe to our channel for more content. Thank you so much for watching and happy learning.